Hey everyone, my name is Nathan Cooper and welcome back to SIS Film Breakdowns. The next division on the slate is the AFC East. When looking at the draft grades overall, the AFC East made a splash with some big time names on both sides of the ball. Let's take a look at a few of the mid-round prospects drafted into this division. First up with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills didn't have a first-round pick after trading it to Minnesota for Stephon Diggs, but still came out with the 5th best draft class among our rankings by picking up a lot of good talent. Their first pick came at number 54 when they took A.J. Epinesa out of Iowa. Even though they signed a couple of free agents at the defensive end position, Epinesa should bring good rotational production to fill the void left by Shaq Lawson. Their third-round selection in Zach Moss brings more size to the backfield and teaming up with Devin Singletary. Their next pick is who we're going to highlight, and that's UCF wide receiver Gabriel Davis. At the Combine, Davis measured in at 6 feet 2 inches, 216 pounds. He tested fairly well with a 4.54 40, 7.08 3-cone, and a 35-inch vertical. After earning first-team All-American Conference each of the past 2 seasons, Davis left school early for the NFL, ranking 2nd in school history in touchdown receptions and 7th in receiving yards. The Bills selected him in the 4th round, number 128 overall. We're going to take a look at 2 of his plays from this past season's game against Pittsburgh. On this first play, Davis is lined up as the single receiver to the left side of the offensive formation. It's a 3rd and 10 play, and he's going to run a curl route at about 10 yards. Off the line, Davis uses a hand swipe to keep the corner from contacting him. At the top of the route, he does a really good job dropping his hips and sinking his weight to stop quickly. And then he works back to the ball slightly to help his quarterback, but he's smart enough to make sure he stays past the sticks for the first down. Goes up with strong hands to make the catch and move the chains here. This next play has Davis lined up in the same spot on the outside to the left of the formation. He's up against press coverage, and at the snap, he's able to get a fairly clean release to the outside with his quickness off the line. He also uses his offhand to fight and keep from getting rerouted. And here at the 40-yard line or so, we can see that he does a good job using that offhand to get a little separation to give him an uncontested catch opportunity. He hauls in the pass and runs for a huge gain after the catch. Davis hasn't run many routes, but he can win short or deep. 2 of his most common routes were vertical routes and slants. On the vertical routes, he ranked 1st in targets, tied 2nd in receptions, and was 6th in yards. On slants, he ranked 3rd in targets and tied 5th in receptions. Look for Davis to contribute and give Josh Allen another weapon on the outside. The tank for Tua mantra was on for the Dolphins ever since the end of the 2018 season. Dolphins fans got their wish as they selected Tua with the 5th overall pick in 2020. As long as he's healthy, which all looks to be, he should be a franchise guy for years to come. Tua was just one of 3 first-round picks for Miami this season. They also grabbed Austin Jackson to help develop and block for their new quarterback, while also drafting Auburn corner Noah Igbinoghene to bring more talent to the secondary. Another player they drafted for the secondary is Texas safety Brandon Jones. Let's take a closer look at what he brings to Miami's defense. Brandon Jones measured in at 5 feet 11 and 1/8 inches, 198 pounds at the Combine, though he was unable to work out due to a shoulder injury. A captain at Texas, Jones started 35 games for the Longhorns, racking up well over 200 tackles during his career. The Dolphins drafted him in the 3rd round with the 70th pick overall. We're going to take a look at a couple of his plays from last season against LSU and TCU. On this first play against TCU, Jones is lined up just off the ball on the edge to the offense's left. It's a wildcat formation and is going to be a stretch play going to the right away from Jones. This plays at real speed so we can really get a sense of how quick Jones is here. And at the snap, he's, even with the false step, able to explode and able to run the play down and meet the back in the backfield, helping his teammates gather up the running back for a big loss. Now let's see what he can do in coverage. This next play against LSU has Jones lined up in the slot to the offense's right over the number 2, which is first-round pick Justin Jefferson. Jefferson is going to run a slot fade here, something LSU did a lot of last season. Now off the line, Jones does a good job getting just a little contact to slow him down, turns his hips quickly and fluidly, and has the speed to stay in phase here, not allowing Jefferson to catch up to the ball and make the grab as the ball is overthrown. Jones needs some work in coverage, but he pursues the football and is pretty polished playing the run. He's a thumper that should help in the run game and on special teams for Miami right away. In looking at his numbers last season, he accounted for 91 tackles with an adjusted tackle depth plus of 109, while also registering a 16% pressure rate as a pass rusher. The New England Patriots seem to be masters of the draft year in and year out. However, they didn't grade out incredibly well on our scale this year. Once again, they traded out of the first round and ultimately ended up with 10 picks overall. Their first pick came at number 37, where they selected Division II safety Kyle Duggar. His athleticism and skill set should allow him to contribute right away on the back end of that defense and on special teams. Their next two picks were edge defenders Josh Uche out of Michigan and Anthony Jennings out of Alabama. Their two picks after that were at the tight end position in UCLA's Devin Asiasi and Virginia Tech's Dalton Keene. Both should help replenish the tight end position for a new look offense. However, we're going to take a little closer look at the edges they drafted in Uche and Jennings. First, let's take a look at Josh Uche. Uche measured in at 6 feet 1 1/4 inches, 245 pounds at the combine, but didn't do on-field drills due to a hamstring injury. However, he did put up 18 reps on the bench press. Uche played in 39 games for the Wolverines during his career, with all of his starts coming in the 2019 season, a season in which he was named a second-team All-Big Ten performer. The Patriots drafted him in the second round with the 60th overall pick. Now let's take a look at one of his plays against Illinois this last season. Uche is lined up to the left of the offense on the edge. We're going to take a look at an example of what he brings as a rusher. At the snap, Uche explodes quickly off the line and gets his hands into the tackle's chest with good leverage and extension. He has the strength to push the tackle back into the quarterback and is part of the reason he's forced out of the pocket. Once the quarterback pulls the ball down and tries to escape, he doesn't give up and tosses the tackle aside and wrestles the quarterback down for the sack. Next for the Patriots is another pass rusher in Anthony Jennings. At the combine, Jennings measured in at 6 feet 2 1/8 inches, 256 pounds. He elected to only do positional drills during his time in Indianapolis. A 3-year starter for Alabama, Jennings played in over 50 games, racking up nearly 200 tackles and over 30 tackles for loss. In the third round, New England drafted him with the 87th overall selection. We're going to take a look at one of his plays against LSU from last season. We saw what Uche could do as a rusher, now let's see what Jennings can do. He has his hand in the ground on the edge to the offense's right, and his first view is at real speed. At the snap, we can see the get-off that Jennings has. He's out of his stance and virtually in the backfield before anyone else is even off the line of scrimmage. He uses good speed around the edge with a rip and then dips with good bend to come around the edge and haul down Burrow for the sack. On this other view, we can really see how quickly Jennings is out of his stance. He basically is up out of his stance before anybody else. He gets his hands into the chest of the tackle, uses a rip move to fight through to the backfield and get to Burrow for the sack. Both Uche and Jennings were very productive during their college careers. They bring solid pass rush skill and production to New England as rotational pieces to help get after the quarterback. When looking at last season's numbers, they were very similar on a lot of stats. Uche had 46 pressures, which translated into a ridiculous 25% pressure rate, while also achieving an adjusted tackle depth plus of 144. Though his adjusted tackle depth plus was below the average, Jennings still accounted for 45 pressures and a 17% pressure rate. The New York Jets drafted a lot of talent at many positions of need. They started off by getting one of the top tackles in Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. He's a big guy who can hopefully develop into a solid blocker for Sam Darnold. In the second round, the Jets got Darnold another weapon in Denzel Mims out of Baylor. Mims is a gifted receiver with a large catch radius. Their two third-round picks were on the defensive side of the ball, Cal safety Ashton Davis and Florida edge rusher Jabari Zuniga, both of whom should contribute early on. Two of the picks I want to take a look at are Florida running back Lamichael Pirine and Virginia cornerback Bryce Hall. First, let's dive into Lamichael Pirine. At the combine, Pirine measured in at 5 feet 10 3/4 inches, 216 pounds. He put up some pretty good numbers in drills, which included 22 reps on the bench, a 35-inch vertical, and a 4.31 short shuttle. Related to current NFL players Samaje Perine and Miles Jack, Perine played in 50 games for the Gators, totaling nearly 2,500 yards and 22 touchdowns on the ground. The Jets drafted him in the 4th round, pick number 120 overall. We're going to take a look at a couple plays from his 2019 game against LSU. Perine is lined up as the single back in Florida's backfield. It's going to be a power run to the left with the right guard pulling around to lead the way. At the snap here, after the handoff, Perine gets to the line and is staring down first-round pick Patrick Queen in the hole. As Queen comes in for the tackle, Perine gets lower, keeping his feet and breaking out of the tackle. Perine runs hard with a low center of gravity. He's not going to break too many long runs, but he's able to break away and get some valuable yards here on this play. Now let's take a look at what Perine brings to the passing game as a receiver. He's split out wide as the number 1 to the left side of the formation for Florida. He's going to run a slant while the slot receiver is going to clear out with a fade. Now at the snap here, off the line, it's a good route. The throw is behind Perine. he has the hands to reach back out of his frame to make the grab and get forward after taking a hit for the first down. Perine isn't elite at any one thing, but can do a little bit of everything. He'll be able to step into New York's backfield and contribute as a runner, receiver, or blocker. Looking at his 2019 stats, he averaged almost 3.5 yards per attempt after contact, produced a positive play 60% of the time when running outside the tackles, and caught 41 balls, which tied for 6th among running backs, all while not fumbling all season. Now let's take a closer look at Bryce Hall. Hall measured in at 6 feet 1 1/8 inches, 202 pounds, but aside from the bench press was unable to work out due to an ankle injury he suffered mid-season, which limited him to only 6 games. A first-team All-ACC player during a healthy 2018 season, Hall accounted for over 150 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 44 pass breakups during his career with the Cavaliers. The Jets drafted him in the 5th round with the 158th overall selection. Let's take a look at a couple of his plays from a 2018 game against NC State. This first play for Hall sees him lined up at the bottom of the screen about 7 yards off with inside leverage. This will be a cover 3 as Virginia rolls at the snap. And at the snap here, Hall starts with a back pedal, staying low before seeing his cushion being eaten up. So then he flips his hips towards the field. The receiver, running a 15-yard dig here, breaks it off at the top of the route. And once Hall sees the receiver drop his weight, he sticks his foot in the ground immediately and quickly transitions and breaks on the ball. He jumps the route here and almost comes away with the interception, knocking the ball away for an incompletion. On the next play, Hall is now pressed at the line to the bottom of the screen, going up against Redskins 2019 draft pick Kelvin Harmon. At the snap, Hall stays with him off the line and then turns and runs. Hall stays step for step, and once Harmon begins to look back for the ball, Hall turns and looks as well. The ball's put more on the back shoulder, with Hall basically playing on top here, and he shows great reactive athleticism and ball skills to reach for the ball one-handed and wrestle it away for an incredible interception. Now as we look at the other view, we get a really good look here. Hall stopping his momentum one way, reaching back the other for a great interception to give his offense the ball back. If Hall can stay healthy, he's shown that he has the ability to play at a high level. If we take a look at his 2018 season in man coverage, he gave up only 10 catches on 33 targets with a 21% positive play rate, and his quarterback rating against of just over 29 ranked 3rd in the country among defensive backs with at least 25 targets in man coverage. Now, what questions need to be answered moving forward in the AFC East? What will life after Tom Brady look like in New England? Do the Bills have enough firepower on offense to couple with their defense to take control of the division? In the second season under Adam Gase and third with Sam Darnold, do the Jets have what it takes to turn the page? With a young, talented roster and a fiery head coach, can the Dolphins ride the momentum they gained at the end of last season to compete and rack up some wins? We'll see what sort of contributions the 2020 draft class has on the AFC East over the next few seasons and find out what the answers are to these questions. Make sure to go get the SIS Football Rookie Handbook or register for a free trial on the SIS DataHub to see all these stats and more for every player, and also tune in each week to the Off the Charts podcast. Thanks for watching SIS Film Breakdowns.